All right, it wasn't the prettiest game for the Eagles, but guess what? They don't care. They got another win, taking down the Lions at home, 16-9. Sal Pal on the scene.
Here with Zack Baun, leader of the linebacker corps, leader of this defense. Zack, you came in, want to stop the run for the Detroit Lions. You did that. How'd you do it?
That was the goal, and it started up front, really. We knew what type of game it was going to be, tough, physical. We knew they were a physical team, and our D-line and our defense took that personally and out-physicaled them, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say the rush up the middle, be able to stop the run, but also get pressure up the middle on Jared Goff, then squeeze him into the pocket, cause a lot of disruption in their passing game.
Yeah, that was the goal. Pressure him, and then play tight coverage on the back end.
They tried to go for it on 4th down 5 times, and you stopped at 5. Yeah,
okay.
4 with a punt, or whatever it was, fake punt, yeah. And you stopped them every single time. That must have been some kind of pride for your defense.
Yeah, we take pride in those situations. We count them as turnovers in our defensive meeting room. So if they had 5, that's a lot of turnovers for us. Defensively,
where would you say this football team is right now?
I feel like we're really finding our groove and the defense we want to be, what we want to do. That's both scheme and physically. Our goal is to out physical teams and wear on them until they break at the end. So shout out to the Lions, though. They really hung in there, and I know Dan Campbell, and he's a risk taker and is going to go for those 4th downs. So sticking to what he does. But yeah, I like where our defense is at.
He took a lot of risks, no question about it, in this football game. And when your offense puts you back on the field, when you know you have to go back on the field because your offense is just not being able to click like that, what do you have to do to sort of rally your troops?
I think we're ingrained to, no matter the situation, if our offense goes for it on 4th down and doesn't get it, or a block punt, any type of situation, we're just hopping up off the bench and happy to go and play football.
Look, Dan Campbell is not afraid to go for it on 4th down, but what we aren't used to seeing is the fact that the Lions were 0 for every single time, 0 for 5. What happened there?
Well, I think Dan Campbell probably needed to, take the conditions into consideration, take into consideration, how his offense was playing, what the flow of the game was going to be, because, they kept putting their defense in a bad spot. And while the defense played well, there just were too many times where, the aggressiveness, cost them. Fake punt after they failed on the first one, then they went for it on 4th and 1, pressure down near the goal line. We saw that one. Brock Wright was open. And then early in the game, just, missed throws, that Jared Goff wasn't able to hit. And I think in part because of the wind, because they weren't, able to pass the ball, either team, accurately down the field. And so I think sometimes when the aggressiveness works out, you want to stick with it. But in the environment tonight, it didn't seem like it was a good idea for the Lions.
Now, for Philly, obviously, the goal is to always win, and they win again. But it's back-to-back low-scoring games for this Eagles offense, and I know we're a little far away from the playoffs, but if you're a fan of this team, you're like, when are we going to get a more efficient offense to give us a better chance to win every game? What concern do you have with that Philly offense?
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan or a receiver, Michael, maybe, depending. Okay. I think they're both having similar complaints right now. Look, I think, look, they're a run-first team, and they have not been running the ball, that well. They had some injuries. Lane Johnson, obviously, came out of the game tonight, and so that will have an impact on it. I do think the conditions tonight impacted the passing game. I think going against a really good defense impacted the way, the offense was able to play. But I do think this. They've been a little bit hesitant to run Jalen Hurts in the regular season. And I think that's a good plan. You don't need him to take a ton of hits if you're able to win games without running him. I would think that when you get into the postseason, we're going to see, a lot more design runs for Jalen Hurts, because it gives you a number advantage, in the run game. It makes Saquon harder to defend when you've got to deal with Hurts coming out the other side. And it also helps your passing game. So I'm not overly concerned right now, because I do think there are things that they will do when it matters more later in the season.
And offensively, 3 of 13, 0 on 3rd down, and 0 of 5 on 4th down. We could not convert, and when you can't convert, that makes it very difficult. Felt like we were going to get in a rhythm after that second quarter. We started, we hit those explosives, went down, J-Mo scores, touchdown, and it felt like, all right, here we go. But Just couldn't ever really get in a rhythm offensively. You know, there's some calls I wish I could have gotten back. You know, I didn't help those guys, and I hate that. You know, I didn't help them. So, but that was kind of the story of the game.
Few reports that you and Jeffrey spoke on Thursday. What can you tell us about that meeting?
I'm keeping that between me and him.
The ball found its way to you, I guess, 12 targets, include the penalty, and yet, you guys still only scored a certain amount of points. I mean, how do you kind of, how do you reconcile that, that you got your targets, but the offense still didn't kind of deliver the way you wanted to?
It wasn't about targets last week or the week before. Production. It wasn't about that at all. It was me trying to help and contribute. That's all. And regardless of what that looked like in phases, I think I did. But like I said, it's a lot of stuff that we as offense and me myself need to continue to get better at. So.
He helped and contributed in this game against the Lions. 7 catches on 11 targets, both of them season high of 49 yards. Also led the team 4th most in a game for Brown this season.